Hey everyone, so this is my review of The Gifted, Season 1, Episode 1, called Exposed. And essentially what this episode is about is that this very suburban family is forced to end up going on the run when it is discovered that their children have these mutant abilities. And this was a really interesting and entertaining episode that I do have to be completely honest. Going into this, I didn't have the highest hopes for it because the fact that I just really didn't want to watch this show. But then when they kept revealing who were sort of members of this underground mutant people, I was really excited because Polaris and Blink are two of my favorite mutants. So I kind of had to watch it for the two of them. But I still have to say that it was pretty much exactly what I was expecting it to be, where it's very much almost like a Heroes kind of thing, but it is different enough that I'm kind of okay with it. Because, yes, there still is the thing where it's like the kids with the powers and then their dad works for the agency that tries to stop the people with the powers, and then he has to sort of change his mind, and all that stuff is very reminiscent of Heroes. But there is enough of a difference that it is still entertaining, because he wasn't like as high a level up as the guy in Heroes was. He was just like a defense attorney that worked with the mutants and stuff like that. So that was interesting with how all that played out and how the dad managed to actually get in contact with the underground mutants because of the fact that he was actually working on a case to sort of work against them. So that was really interesting. And then the two kids with their powers was also very interesting, with them having fairly similar powers, with like having telekinetic powers, but they were different enough that like the emotions that they have to trigger to be able to use their powers better is different, where the guy very much relies on like anger and fear and stuff to sort of work his emotions, while hers is similar, but she has like learned to control it a bit more, that her powers are a lot calmer and like a lot wavier, like almost like she's controlling the wind, while his is very aggressive and very destructive. So maybe that will change once he learns to control his powers a bit more. But I do also really kind of enjoy that dynamic of their powers being very similar but also very different. And then I do have to be completely honest and say that the mother of this family was really kind of annoying, because she seemed like she knew what was going on but also didn't. And she seemed like such over emotional and just felt like an unnecessary kind of part to this whole sort of episode, where she was just kind of there to be panicky and afraid and stuff like that. And she didn't do very much except for the initial getting the kids out of the house and away from the sort of Sentinel security. So that was interesting and okay, but still her character felt really kind of unnecessary. And with that, I did really enjoy that they sort of introduced the Sentinel security, because the Sentinels are such an iconic part of the whole X-Men franchise and stuff like that, that the minute they showed up and said their names, I was so excited to see what they might do with that. Because the Sentinels are so iconic to being robots and stuff like that, to have them actually being like secret agents like this is, and like agents for the government and stuff like that I'm very interested to see where that dynamic might fit in, where maybe eventually they'll release some robots or something like that down the line, because the regular people aren't working out enough or something like that. That would be really kind of cool. And then the whole underground mutants group I really enjoyed, with Blink sort of being new to the group and still trying to find her placement in it, because she was just discovered in this episode. And then with all like the pictures and stuff that were released with Polaris, that was interesting, with the dynamic of what they did with her character, where she's the one underground mutant who was captured, and then putting her in a very Magneto-like prison because she has the similar powers, and she's sort of using them to sort of show off herself, was really enjoyable. And then Thunderbird they did a fairly good job with him using like his senses to be able to track people and stuff like that. And then the new mutant that was introduced especially for the show, Eclipse, is very interesting, and I kind of want to know a bit more about him. Where in this episode he gets shot, and because of his mutant abilities, he must like have like a sun somewhat inside him, because when he got shot he started to like bleed light. So I'm very curious to know what's all going on there with him. And then the whole relationship between Polaris and Eclipse is okay in my mind, because of the fact that in the comics and stuff, Polaris didn't really have relationships that much with people as far as I remember. So for her to have a relationship with this and with someone who's not iconic to the comic books, I'm kind of okay with, because it's something new to sort of bring to the table. So I enjoy it for that reason. And then just overall, this was a really interesting and really great episode that was dedicated a lot to just sort of setting things up, because it is a first episode. So going into it from here, there's going to be a lot more drama and a lot more story adding to it to be able to talk about it a bit more. Well, like I said, this one was just mostly set up to setting things up. So yeah, that's my review of The Gifted, Season 1, Episode 1, called Exposed. So yeah, bye!